Well, there certainly is, a lot of history there. Just again, being in that area, I really want to maintain a residence in the area. And my wife and I thought a little bit about, well, should we move now? The kids are getting older, that kind of thing. But I really like that area. It's a great location. There's still a lot of people, that grew up in the area, that live in the area still now, even. So I'm really thinking about just staying there, just keeping roots there in that area. You think about all the people that grew up on that side of town that are now leaders in the Atlanta community, whether it's in politics or a business community. Many of them still live in that area today still. Well, it's I don't know if it's me necessarily. I can't take credit for the name necessarily, but my father is recognized as being the first student to integrate the University of Georgia. He and Charlene Hunter, who were both students at Turner High School in Atlanta, graduated and eventually ended up attending the University of Georgia about a year and a half after graduating from high school. Charlene went to Wayne State up in Detroit, Michigan, and my father went to Morehouse for a year and a half. So they were the first two students there and graduated in 1963. Then my father also was the first black medical student at Emory University, graduating in 1967. And then he worked at Emory University, Grady Hospital, and had private practice also for a while here in the Atlanta area. Well, it's a long history, very rich history. I learned at a relatively young age about just the history of the community. You think about all the business leaders, the community leaders that have come from the area. Certainly the civil rights movement, at least here in the Atlanta area. A lot of the people were really from Southwest Atlanta. They lived in the area or did business in the area. Certainly you have the Atlanta University Center also. That was a large part of that history of the civil rights movement back in that time. So I think it was just a no-brainer, at that point for us to live in the area. And my entire time of living here in Georgia, we actually moved back here when I was 5 years old. So from then up to now, I still live in Southwest Atlanta, as a matter of fact. So, well, I'd like to see some improvement now. Southwest Atlanta has always been a great community, but I think it needs some rejuvenation at this point. So we need some more businesses. We need some capital to come into the area. We need some new development at this point. The thing I don't want to see is the community start to kind of deteriorate to a certain extent. So I think that there, still is a great opportunity for some companies to come in and add some jobs in the area or build some new homes. A lot of the building on that side of town now has been out towards the Camp Creek area with the marketplace out there and all the new homes. But we need some of that closer to like off of MLK or Cascade Road or other parts of Southwest Atlanta as well. Okay. You think about Andrew Young being from the community, Maynard Jackson, and many others. I think that all of the African American mayors that we've had lived in Southwest Atlanta. I believe that one or two may have been from out of state. I don't remember everybody's background right offhand, but I believe that all the recent ones anyway have lived in Southwest Atlanta community. You have a lot of civil rights leaders that still live in the area. And Joseph Lowry lives around the corner from me, even still today. Maynard Jackson's home was in the area. Andrew Young doesn't live too far away, as I mentioned. So there are quite a few people that are still in that area now. Okay. Well, I will say this. I've traveled a lot around the country and visited other places. Been to many major cities. And when I go to some of those towns, I always try to go and link up with the African American community, just to go see it, see what it looks like, maybe meet some people, those kinds of things. But I have not found a place that's better than Atlanta, and I certainly can say that. I really love being here. I love that I grew up here. I'm glad that I'm able to raise my family here now as well, because I think it really just gives you, a strong sense of community, a sense of self, and believing that the African American community can be strong, in our own neighborhood. As long as we continue to maintain it, as I mentioned earlier. So there's no better place than Southwest Atlanta that I've seen anywhere else around the country.